Hey guys, welcome back, and today I'm going to show off this PRS Semi-Hollow 2 Piezo. So before I get started, again, big shout out to the guys at Zzounds for sending me this to try out, to take on the stage, and then to bring back here in the studio and give you guys some honest opinions and thoughts on the guitar and let you check it out with me. So basically this is their semi-hollow guitar that they've essentially added the piezo system in under the saddles here, and they've added the volume control down here, and there's 2 jacks on here, and I'm running it in the dual jack mode today, where one output is specifically for the piezo and the other is specifically for the magnetic pickups. And I'll show you a picture of the board that I've got here. It's my acoustic setup that I've kind of tweaked a little bit for this particular instrument, specifically for the electric side of it. And the way that I have it going is the acoustic pickups go into the Spark for the boost, a TC Ditto X4 looper, and then into the Fractal FM3. And the Fractal FM3 splits the signal because the electric output goes straight into the FM3 into another input. So there's 2 separate channels, one set up with EQing and a cabinet IR block for the acoustic signal, and then there's another path just for the electric, which has the Friedman small box amp model on there, and it also has an EQ block in there. They then converge into a single path for the delay, chorus, and then it splits out for output 1 and output 2. Output 1 goes to the house for just the acoustic setup, for the acoustic sound, and output 2 goes into the aux stomp for cabinet simulation. The reason for this is because the FM3 does not facilitate 2 different cabinet blocks. You have to step up to the FM9 or the AXFX3 rack mount unit for that. So luckily I do have the aux stomp, so I can essentially just have amp simulation only coming from the FM3 going into the aux stomp for my cabinet simulation and reverb. And that's a big one that I did not foresee, and it's not a problem with the guitar, it's just the way that the FM3 handles this sort of weird switching, where when I would have the reverb block in the center, where after both of them have combined, if I would switch from the electric guitar, the overdrive, back to the acoustic, there would be this big splash sound from the reverb block in the FM3. And so what I did was I moved the reverb block down into just the acoustic guitar signal path, and then set up a little bit of reverb on the aux stomp, so it essentially fixed that problem. So just a little tidbit, if you've got to set up some more to this and you're wanting to do a switching setup like this, then that's how I got around that problem if you encounter it yourself. So speaking of switching, the way that this works is I have 2 different scenes set up. One scene has the acoustic input and output active. The other scene has only the electric and input and output active. So essentially I have seamless switching between the 2 different scenes, and when I do that, it cuts off one input and output and then activates the other set. So it's an easy way to switch straight from acoustic to electric without having to fiddle with the knobs. And it's a fairly elegant workaround. It works really well. The real trick was just getting the 2 sounds to sound balanced, which they're 2 completely different sounds. But kind of the inspiration behind this was John Petrucci's album with Jordan Rudess that he did, An Evening with Petrucci and Rudess, where he essentially just uses his Music Man piezo into the PA or something. And I believe he had like maybe a Mark IV on stage with him, and he would just switch between the 2 for go to the Mark for leads, and then back to the acoustic pickup in his guitar for the acoustic stuff. So that's kind of where I drew the inspiration from this from. And luckily the FM3 was able to do this, because this guitar does not have a toggle switch the way that my old JP6 does, where you can have a 3-way toggle for acoustic only, blend, or electric only. That would have been super nice to have on this guitar, but alas, this is what PRS has given us on this instrument, and so this is the way that I've been able to sort of adapt the workflow for that setup. I know this is a very long-winded intro, but I felt like with an instrument like this and a setup like this, really going into detail on how this is all set up was kind of crucial, because it's kind of it's what makes the sound work. And I've used this at one acoustic gig so far. It worked really well, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later on in the video. And I'm also, after I've finished filming this, I'm packing up and headed out to another acoustic show with it tonight. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and yeah, let's get going here. So like I said, everything is going into the pedal board, out into the interface, and what you hear is just a direct signal in from the pedal board. So let's see, I've got it on the acoustic setup right now, and this is what the acoustic setup sounds like. Again, this is with one of the worship tutorials free impulse responses in a cabinet block. Chorus in there. And a little delay. All right, now it's time to go to the electric side. Alright, so that's a little bit of taste of what this guitar sounds like and how it works with this this particular type of split setup and this, I guess this electric setup with the amp block and then the aux stomp and everything switchable. So, I mean, this again, let me show you the switching between the two. It's fairly seamless. So, I like there's no delay there. It just cuts straight from one to the other, and that seamless switching is kind of critical for this type of integration. It's basically like if you had a regular guitar amp that had a cut in the signal before it switched from clean to overdrive or vice versa, it might kind of get on your nerves. At least it would for me. So that's how all of this works. That's how all of this sounds, and it worked out great for the first show. Now, granted, I didn't do a whole lot of switching to the overdrive, just a couple of little songs here and there, because it was a duo, and kind of would get a little bit weird if I went on and on, because it's just one guitar and a singer on stage. But for tonight, it's going to be a full band, and it's going to be a lot more interesting to see how much I can get away with leaning into the heavy overdrive, because we're not playing different songs. There's all the same songs. They're just playing them with acoustic guitars, or at least an acoustic type sound. But when you're talking about electric bass, full drum kit, the whole 9 yards, we're going all out. So we'll see how it works tonight. I'm assuming I'll just get to use more of the electric sound, so more fun. So that's how it did at the first gig, and what was really neat about this was that I believe that there were quite a few people there who weren't expecting that kind of acoustic sound out of a guitar that looks like a fairly standard electric guitar. I did get lots of compliments on just the overall look of the guitar. It's got this really nice flame maple top and back. Let's see here. So yeah, it's got a nice flame to it on the top and the back, and of course it's a veneer at this price point, but PRS veneers look incredible, as I also noted in the SC24 Floyd Rose guitar that I had, the black transparent stain guitar. So again, no exception, but what I really like about this guitar in terms of the aesthetics is the flame maple binding all over the guitar. It's really beautiful, and it goes so well with this color. It's got it around the F holes. It's on the both edges of the binding here, all down the neck, the headstock. It's just everywhere, and it's a perfect, tastefully done visual appointment to the looks of the guitar. And of course the abalone looking, I don't know if it's real abalone at this price point, probably, but the abalone bird inlays, they look great too. So yeah, aesthetically, I really like the way this guitar looks, and I got quite a few compliments on it at the first show. And one guy in the audience who actually played guitar, he really wanted to know about this thing because of the dual purposes that it served, and he kind of does both types of playing. And if he could get one really nice guitar that could kind of facilitate both types of playing, then he was very interested in this. So I let him play it and kind of talk to him about it and give him some thoughts and opinions and sort of what I think. And he obviously got to hear it firsthand, and so yeah, he was very impressed, and I was too. So no complaints other than not getting a toggle switch for the electric blend with the piezo. That would have been really nice. I had that on my JP6. The USA made Hollowbody piezo version does have that, I believe, and from what I've gathered, you can't really retrofit a toggle switch into this particular piezo system. It uses a different system than the USA version, so kind of a bummer there, but you know, it is what it is. And if you've got an FM3 or a Quad Cortex or a Helix or something like that, then those systems can all facilitate this type of switching. So yeah. Now, as far as the actual setup out of the box, the guitar does come with a hard shell case, so that was nice to see. especially something that could potentially be a little bit more fragile than a standard electric solid body guitar. It was nice to see that it did come with a hard shell case, and the action was set up great. The intonation was perfect. The fretwork is excellent. It's exactly what I have come to expect from the SE models from PRS. I've played a lot of them at the stores, and I've spent some time with the Floyd Rose version and now this version kind of at length, and I have no complaints over the setup and playability. I think they're all excellent. I have not picked up an SE that I didn't really enjoy playing. I'll just put it that way. And not many brands I can't say that for many brands. Definitely the PRS SEs, I do think that they are outstanding guitars right out of the box. Now, I know that I'm not really the target demographic for the electric style playing that I'm using this for. So the only kind of nitpick that I have personally with the instrument is that the pickups really are a little bit too soft for me. But for the more jazz and like praise and worship type stuff that I believe this instrument is more squarely targeted at, I think that these pickups are really good. In fact, I've got a buddy of mine, used to be a singer in my band actually, and he's got the non-piezo version of this, and he does praise and worship, and he absolutely loves it. He, I think, sold a Taylor T5 and moved over to the SE semi-hollow, and really likes it. But he's been playing PRSs forever, so it kind of seemed like a natural move for him to make. So yeah, for me, the pickups are just a little bit soft, and I think part of that also is just the nature of the semi-hollow design. It does not have a full block in the middle of it the way that the ES335 or guitars like that would have, where there's a full block of wood connecting the top and the bottom of the guitar. This one has a block under the pickups and the bridge just to have something to mount to, but it's floating, so it doesn't go all the way down to against the back of the guitar. So fully floating, very much more hollow than your 335. So it doesn't quite have the bite and the attack and the initial punch to the sound that the way a 335 would have. So yeah, just a little minor nitpick, but again, this, for my style, something like that would be a little bit better. But again, I've really enjoyed playing this, and the sound that it does deliver, I've completely been, more than satisfied with. So that is going to wrap up this this review of the PRS SE Semi-Hollow 2 Piezo. It's a big old name, but we made it. Yeah, if you're wanting to check this thing out, I will have an affiliate link in the description, and anything that you guys need, regardless of whether it's a guitar, accessories, you name it, you can use my affiliate link for Zzounds and get all that stuff. And it doesn't cost you anything, but it does help the channel out. Speaking of helping the channel out, again, if you guys are not subscribed, please consider subscribing. It's definitely helping my channel grow, and I've had a couple of new manufacturers reach out to me. They weren't really things I was interested in, but the exposure is starting to happen, and it's all, again, thanks to you guys. So anyways, I will catch you guys in the next video, and I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Talk to you guys later.